Well, welcome everyone. Welcome to the Women and Money Creating Your Financial Zen webinar with Craig Richman. I know Craig and I are both so super excited that you took the time out of your busy schedule to be with us today. I am Wendy Blum, and I'm hosting this call, and I'm super excited to host this call. I am a success and strategy coach, and I am most passionate about inspiring and empowering men and women from around the globe to tap into the infinite power that exists inside of each one of us so that you can unleash your brilliance and live a life that you love right here and right now. And we have a really special guest on the line today, and Craig Richman, and I don't think it's any coincidence that your last name just happens to be Richman. And Craig is the founder and CEO of Richman Capital Management, which is a small boutique-style investment firm in South Florida in Boca Raton. And Craig is also noted for being an advocate for women and men in finances, especially anyone that's going through a transition or some sort of life change. And so what's really unique about Craig is, although he's been in the financial field for decades, he brings about a whole new element with his recent certification as a yoga teacher. I'm also a yoga teacher, so I'm a big advocate of yoga. I know Craig is too, and he's going to share a little bit more about his story and how he blends the philosophy of what you practice on the mat out in your day-to-day world and in your financial world. So I think that's probably where the name came up with, creating your financial Zen. So thank you so much for being part of this series, Craig. I think you're going to be doing this on a monthly basis, and maybe you'll share more about that with us throughout this time together on the call. So welcome, Craig, and it would be great to share with our listeners a little bit more about your background.
Sure.
And about why you're so passionate about creating financial Zen.
Well, I've been a financial planner and money manager for over 30 years, although I don't look that old. I've enjoyed a great career.
I wasn't going to bring up the number. I said decades. You know, I left it kind of like it's decades.
Decades. Okay. I could live with that, I guess. I've enjoyed a great career, but my life was not in balance due to the stress and demands of my practice. Got involved with yoga about a year ago, and although if you want to see my story about yoga, feel free to visit my blog. Yoga is giving me back my. I'm sorry.
I'm just gonna ask what your blog is as you mention it, because it's got a great title. Your website and blog.
It's the Power of Balance blog.wordpress.com.
And it's also your financial Zen. Is that also your financialzen.com?
Yes, my website is yourfinancialzen.com, and you can access the blog directly through the website.
Okay, awesome. Okay.
So yoga is giving me back my vitality, my well-being, and zest for life. I've become acutely self-aware, started to create peace of mind, and look inwardly at my own life. Professionally, yoga has driven me to become more holistic in working with our clients to help them embrace their life's intentions and real quests. There are 7 parts to creating your financial Zen, which we're going to talk about today, which does equate to the number of chakras or energy systems in our body. Understanding the chakras is a journey through the layers of your own self. It's a journey through your own life, your own personal quest. I recently met with Leslie Glickman, as a lot of you know, my teacher and mentor in yoga, and shared this program with her. And she shared with me that chakras are in concert with what I had to say, but they're in the opposite order. So I found that quite interesting, and I've learned not to question her wisdom. So as we go through the call, as I go through the parts, I'm also going to be talking about the chakras as well.
So that's so interesting. So you came up with a title, Your Financial Zen, because that was something that you were seeking in your life. You had the success in your career, but really feeling some of the imbalance in other areas in your life. And I'm just thinking that maybe some of the people on the line today, maybe they feel balance in some areas of their life, but not in the financial part of their life. So this way it just kind of blends it all together.
Absolutely. It's really, it's part about the money, but it's also not part about the money. It's dealing with our relationship with money, which we're going to talk about next.
Yeah, beautiful. And our relationship with ourselves. And as we talk about the chakras, maybe you'll share a little bit about what they are, because some of our callers may have heard of what the chakra system is in the body, and maybe some of our callers, probably many of our callers, don't know what the chakra system is too.
The chakras are essentially energy systems throughout our body, and I didn't really know about the chakras, frankly, till I got involved in yoga. But I found it quite fascinating. It's essentially, if you can engage the energy systems throughout your whole body, it essentially will create your balance in your life. So, and one part of the chakra can be in balance, another part may not be in balance. So your work essentially is to work on all the chakras so you can develop a more balanced life. So it really is quite a good analogy to what we're talking about.
And I want to ask you this, Craig, because we've talked, I know the two of us have talked about this, in setting intention and helping your clients set like their financial intention. And so that being said, do you have an intention for us today on the call today?
The intention is to listen intently to all 7 parts, because they've been painstakingly put together. I believe, as in the chakras, you're going to need to engage each and every one of these areas in order to create balance and union from a money standpoint.
Yeah, beautiful. So, and then joining with you in that intention of being able to connect our that energy grid in our body, and to be able to tap into and bring more Zen and peace into our lives, and also at the same time prosperity and financial freedom. So setting an intention with Craig that the listeners on the call today, that they take away something, some seed that can help them in their lives build a brighter, stronger financial future and bring that Zen into your daily life. So,
well, the intention would basically, if I'm thinking through, the intention basically would be 3 parts. 1, creating financial fulfillment. 2, embracing your life's intentions. And 3, creating greater peace of mind. If you could essentially work toward those 3 things, you will have come far.
Can you say those for me again? They were
achieving financial fulfillment, embracing your life's intentions, and creating greater peace of mind.
That's powerful. Thank you.
So with that, let's get started.
Let's do it.
So part 1 equates to chakra number 7, which talks about union, understanding your relationship with money. When you begin to align your money decisions with your deepest core values and your highest commitments, we experience a dramatic shift, not only in what we do with our money, but also how we feel about our money, our life, and ourselves. We need to realize that our relationship with money needs to be more truthful, free, and potent, enabling us to live a life of integrity, full of self-expression that is consistent with our deepest core values, no matter what the financial circumstances. Money itself is not the problem. It is our interpretation with it. That's where the real mischief is, and where we find the real opportunity for self-discovery and personal transformation. Rarely in our life is money a place of genuine freedom, joy, or clarity, yet we routinely allow it to dictate the terms of our lives and often be the most single important factor in the decisions we make about love, work, family, and friendships. We need to confront our challenges around money, our fears around money, our addictions, our attachment to money, our remorse, our regret, hurt around money, and to embrace it all as our work for personal growth and transformation. See, we each have a money story that has been provided us, our path of money and its use, possibly something that's happened in our past that essentially created the framework on how we actively use money today. We need to become very self-aware of our financial presence, just like learning to be very self-aware on a yoga mat. Each financial choice you make is a powerful statement of who you are and what you care about. And let me repeat that because I think it's important. Each financial choice you make is a powerful statement of who you are and what you care about. When we use what you have to support your highest ideals and commitments and express your deepest values, your experience of your own true wealth expands. As we learn to live consciously, fully, and joyfully in our relationship with money, we're learning to understand and embrace its flow. So what we want to do essentially is determine what you want your life to look like moving forward that will excite you and create happiness in your life. Create a compelling story that will have you jump out of bed in the morning because you just can't wait to get started. In my yoga class I spoke this past Tuesday, I asked a simple question, are you happy? And although it might be a very simple question, the answer might be quite complicated. So the first piece of it, before an advisor like myself could give any of you any advice, it would be completely meaningless unless you can come to grips with what you want your future to evolve to. Until that happens, and you can create a union within yourself, the seventh chakra, it will be very difficult to move forward intelligently. And that's the first part.
So the first piece is the unity, and also really having a picture of what happiness looks like for you, because it's not really the money that we're seeking, it's the feeling around it. It's feeling happy and what brings us that joy, so that can drive our money story, so not the money itself.
And this may be the very first time a lot of callers are even going to approach this subject.
You know, one of those things about money is that so many people don't want to have a conversation around it. It's kind of like the head, in the sand. You kind of don't want to even look there or go there. So this is such an important conversation.
So which leads us to our next part 2, which is chakra 6, called intuition. So now that we've established the macro picture and we can start to visualize the path to happiness, it's now time to move from the metaphysical world to the physical world, as they state in yoga. We need to do the hard work on the mat. So this chakra refers to dream journaling. It's an opportunity for us for complete visualization. So if you write this down, I want you to set up 2 sets of goals to embrace. Your foundation and then your dreams. Or in yoga, we talk about concentrating what I call the basics, or your vinyasas, and then design your sequences around your desires for happiness. So the first piece, the vinyasas, for all those that are familiar with yoga, vinyasas is essentially the basics or the foundation of a practice, which we're constantly working on. And in our financial life, there are some basic things we really need to do, which we'll talk about more as we move forward. The first one is you have to get out of debt. Very, very important. You have to have a proper emergency savings account. You have to improve your cash flow, potentially save for a home. You have to invest in an investment account or a 401k or other type of pension. So the very basics are those things that are frankly expected of you, and we need to really make sure that all those things are operating effectively. In order for you to move to your second sequence, which list talks about what's really going to make you happy and potent. So you might say, well, Craig, I've got all these other things in place, but now maybe I'd like to build a retirement home, or I'd like to open up a new business, or I'd like to travel more, or I'd like to write a book, become a yoga teacher, work with my favorite charity, design your business around your lifestyle, which some of us are trying to do, spend more time with the family, learn how to paint, volunteer, go back to college, retire peacefully, or embrace any other life's intentions that will get you excited. That's what's so fascinating, that I've learned to become very self-aware. Just because things were the way they were in the past is no indication that they have to be that way moving forward. So I would ask you, as another exercise, to write down what's going to get you excited about your life. Forget about the money for a moment. Each goal or intention does have an actual cost, and we can actuarially determine what that needs to look like in order to bring your dreams to reality. But for now, let's just dream for a moment and journal as to what our future might behold. And that's the part 2, intuition.
So if our listeners, if something comes to mind, this would be a good opportunity to write something down, or even to doodle it or draw it, or whatever it is. Even if it's a new thought, if nothing comes to mind, that's okay too. But to use this opportunity to kind of go there.
Absolutely. So now that we've somewhat done some visioning, and we've maybe get a little glimpse of what we'd like our future to look like, which can be very exciting, we move to our part 3, which is our chakra 5, which talks about expressing, which basically means I am able and willing to speak my truth. This deals with a money makeover. This is where the rubber meets the road. We need to be honest and look in the mirror. This is now time to get real about our financial picture. So the first thing we need to do, everyone needs to build a current personal financial statement, which outlines all of your assets and liabilities to determine your financial net worth. And by the way, you were saying, well, Craig, I'm not sure exactly how to do that. I will be making worksheets available for this for our listeners, and Wendy will talk about that later.
Yeah, no,
so
that's wonderful that you're going to give some resources to our listeners today too. So if some of this stuff sounds new to you, just know that there's going to be tools available for you to actually use these processes in your life.
Absolutely. So before you endeavor to start anything in life, it's essential to understand where you are today in this moment. So this is a financial snapshot at this moment of time. It is not indicative of your self-worth. So as you go through this, don't get despaired as to what it might look like. This is just a snapshot for today. It is strictly a benchmark or an assessment as to where you are in financial terms. Think of this as a routine annual checkup with your primary physician, but now it's with your financial doctor. So that's the first thing we need to do, is take a look at our assets. We list our assets, and then we list all our liabilities. And if you subtract one from the other, we should end up with a net worth figure, which will essentially tell us kind of what we're worth in terms of money in that respect. The next thing we need to do.
I just want to add something that you brought up the other day, and it doesn't matter whatever age you are, wherever your starting point is, it's never too late. That most of the wealth that has been built in this country has been for, those that are considered to be seniors, over 50. And so it really doesn't matter. It's just in numbers, just a starting place. It's just like plugging it into your GPS system, but you got to know where you are so that you have some sort of direction, right? And then you shared a story. Whose short story did you share the other day on the call?
Well, I talked about Colonel Sanders, who, as many, I'm sure all of us on the call, has eaten Kentucky Fried Chicken at one time or another, although I'm not allowed to eat it now.
Maybe not recently. Maybe we remember it a long time ago. It's interesting. I put a picture of a steak that I had recently for lunch at the Capitol Grill, and I must have gotten 25 Facebook posts of like, what am I doing? So
found that pretty comical.
Yeah.
But the key with the retirement, and I'll just touch on this before we move on, is if you can get really excited about what your future is going to look like, I don't think there's really a retirement. If you could really map out a future that's compelling for you, that to me would be all so exciting. And you wouldn't have to worry about, quote unquote, the day we might retire. If you can live your life now and be excited about it, what a great way to live the rest of your life. So the next piece of it is we're talking about money makeover instead of a makeover at the spa, is we need to examine your credit report and your FICO score. Now, some of you, if I were to ask you if you know your FICO score, you might say, well, what's a FICO score? Establishing excellent credit is paramount to a fulfilling financial future in order to make future successful financial transactions. So FICO score essentially is a credit score. It's a number typically that the credit agencies give you to essentially put a number on where you're at from a credit-worthy standpoint. What you really would like to do is... Yes.
I have a question about that. So let's say that you've had some financial hardships, and so can you help someone then build their FICO score back up? Can you help them build that?
Yes. But the first thing, and it would be too much in this call to talk about how to do that, but let me share with you how to at least get the information, to at least have that conversation. So you want to go to, there's a few ways you can do this. One is you can go to www.annualcreditreport.com and order a free credit report. Now that is a joint venture that was set up between the three credit agencies, and it's free. And you can only ask for one credit report from one of the agencies once per year. But that's okay. If you want to get started, and I would probably recommend ordering it from Equifax versus Experian or TransUnion, because they're the 800-pound gorilla in the credit business. So this is part of your financial checkup. Now, if you want to obtain your FICO score, because just getting your credit report won't give you a FICO score, I would suggest you go to Equifax.com directly. And you might have to purchase a FICO score report. Now, if you really want to get a handle on exactly where you stand with your credit, my suggestion would be you can go on Equifax and order all three credit reports, so you can download all complete reports. Make sure you have plenty of paper in your printer, and order all three FICO scores so you can clearly see all three reports and how you stack up on each one, because one of the agencies may have some improper information and another one might be totally correct, but you won't know until you look at all three. So after you review, then you can start taking the necessary steps, like Wendy mentioned, to improve your credit report and your FICO score, but you can't do that until you get a snapshot. So I think that's really important. And it's also important moving forward not only to improve your score, and if you have a great score, is to maintain it. Because as things move on, credit rating becomes so more important. And the last thing in this piece of the money makeover, and this is all basically an assessment of where we need to be before we can start looking forward, is in order to be able to make positive changes in your financial picture, we must know our flow, which is our cash flow. It is essentially the monthly income coming in and the expenses going out. You should have a positive balance, or what they call net discretionary income, after you pay your bills. This money should be used to help build your assets in your balance sheet. So you can put money in your pension plan, savings, investments, buy property, whatever that looks like. So improving your net income is paramount to the whole financial success. Now, if you could write this down, if you learned anything today, this would be a very key point. If you are not able to save or invest money every month, then you are strictly supporting your lifestyle and not improving your financial picture. So let me repeat that. If you are not able to save or invest money every month, then you are strictly supporting your lifestyle and not improving your financial picture. So if, in fact, your income equals your expenses, then we have some work to do. If your expenses are in excess of your income, then we have more work to do. There is a way to get out of debt if your expenses are higher, but you need to examine what that looks like. So your monthly net income, net of taxes, includes interest, dividends, or other income that would be reduced by those monthly expenses. Now your expenses, and by the way, again, I have worksheets for this, your expenses are either fixed and or variable monthly expenses that you experience each and every day. So we think about your mortgage, your rent, your car payments, your gas, your insurances, your kids' expenses. Those are more fixed in nature, and then we move more toward the discretionary type expenses. Could be your health spa membership, buying goods at the mall, nail salon, yoga classes, and so on. So the key is, and I'm going to share with you some very tremendous information, that to me is the cog of the wheel. We really need to get in order to prove where we are today, we need to really get a handle on our cash flow. Unless you accurately understand your cash flow, you will not be able to improve your financial picture. Once you have all these three documents in order, we can now look to analyze and start to understand what the state of your financial path at the moment is. And it's strictly the only way to move forward with the knowledge to improve your path of prosperity. And that, Wendy, is part 3.
Wow. Okay. So we'll let our listeners take all that in. That's a lot of information, but you have many resources that are available for us. And I think you're going to talk about other ways that people can continue to have access to the information, your information. So thank you so much for that. All right. So we take a big sigh through that one. Woo! All right. But, it's an important conversation.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's work. It's like working out, It's if you show up and go to the gym, then you're going to show up, then eventually you're going to, tone your body and you're going to be fit. So you have to, it's like a financial muscle. You have to work that, and you have to, first make a decision. And you're on this call, so you've made a decision. You've made a powerful decision to invest your time. Some people use up their time and spend their time. You're investing your time of being here today. So that is a really important first step.
And by the way, part of what we do as a consultant is help our clients through this process. So this is not something you really have to do alone. This is totally foreign to you. I don't want you to despair. You can hire somebody like myself or somebody like myself that can help you through this process to get a checkup. But I think it can be very enlightening to really know, Craig, I didn't know I was worth so much money, or, oh my God, I didn't realize I was spending all this money in this area. You'd be shocked as to what revelations can come up as a result of this discovery process.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I know one of the things that I hear over and over again, that people don't realize that they gain weight until they see a picture of themselves. And so it's that same kind of thing, so to just take a look at where you are, which is fine, but then once you know, then you can start then, modifying what you're eating and going to the gym and making a decision that it's time to get into good shape and to be healthier, so physically healthy. And now we're just talking about being financially healthy. It's all part of the same process of living a beautiful, prosperous life with peace of mind, right? The Zen, it's all a part of that. So we just
I don't think you can really have a fulfilling future unless you address this subject, because money is part of our everyday existence, and we deal with money daily, all the time. So we truly have to embrace it and get a hold of it, control it, and be able to make it work for us, for whatever we're looking for out of life. That's so crucially important.
Yeah, so it works for us instead of us constantly working for it. So, okay, so part 4.
Absolutely.
We're ready.
Part 4, chakra, which is my favorite chakra, is called loving.
That's the heart chakra.
The heart chakra. We must face the truth. We must create balance and ultimately love around our spending? Are your current money decisions in concert with what you want out of life? We must understand our financial story, our past money story, if you will, but don't allow it to interfere with who we want to be, who do we want to become for a better tomorrow. So this piece, now that we understand in part 3 our picture, now it's time to do some work. So we want to identify our unique spending style. So I would encourage each and every one of you, this is not going to be simple, but it's not difficult either, is start a 30-day diary of all your discretionary expenses. And again, I have a worksheet available for this. So this will absolutely help you understand the direct reasons or where you spend the money you do, which will help you move in concert with your future intentions. Again, you may not really realize how much you spend in different areas of your life. So this is just 30 days. You would carry around this worksheet or write down in a little diary or journal, if you will, what you spend on to the penny. So if you go to Starbucks, I spend $4.20 for a latte. Or if you go to Trend Tea and you spend $3 for an energy bar, or Kentucky Fried Chicken for that matter, or anywhere else.
No,
anytime
not
you
the
pull
chicken.
out. I had to bring that up.
Green drink. How about a green drink?
You know, I'm going to be dying for that chicken now that we've been talking about it, but I'm not going to go there.
No.
Because my yoga buddies would be mad. But so we certainly want, no matter, whenever you pull out your wallet or you pull out cash, you want to have a pen handy to write down what it is, regardless of what it is. And there's no judgment here. Let's just write it down. And so for 30 days, we'll keep this diary, and that will help us get a handle on where we're spending our money. So if one were to come to me and say, you know, Craig, I really just can't save any money. I'm not making a lot of money. I just can't find saving. But yet, if we go through this process, I'm going to say, yeah, but you spent $200 a month at Starbucks. So, you know, why is that so important? You know, and let's have a conversation around that. Would it be possible to curtail that spending? Yes or no? So there are ways, regardless of your income, to improve your financial picture. And frankly, I would share for those of you that are more wealthy in nature, I think this exercise also bears weight, because no matter how much money you have, it's always important to spend prudently. The next piece of this pie, talking about our budget, is I have some very exciting news to share with you. I am a corporate partner with a software company, and if you could write this down, it's www.ynab.com, which stands for You Need a Budget. I've known this company for many, many years. They were a small boutique budget software company, and frankly, I think it's the best budget software in the market. It's cost effective, and this will help you to get a real handle on your budgeting process. This will direct you to make better money decisions around your spending. And there's 4 simple rules that will help you if you are living paycheck to paycheck to get out of debt and save more money faster. There's essentially 4 rules in the software. One is give every dollar a job. So when you get paid every month or every 2 weeks, you have to assign your dollars a job. We just don't pay our bills and leave money there, because ultimately that money could be spent not in the most optimum manner. So that's very important. We also want to save for a rainy day. How many of us have bills that are not due every month, but they're due on a quarterly basis, or they're due every 6 months or once a year, yet we don't save for them? We just say, well, we'll have the money. But we don't have the money, and we use our credit card. So this system allows you to put away money for that bill that's coming up. That's the prudent way to go. And we're going to roll with the punches. As in yoga, there's no judgment. You will make mistakes. You will make not so much mistakes, but you won't have optimize how you spend your money. But this is no judgment, so you would just improve upon it from month to month. But this is a process. And the last thing is we'll learn to live on last month's income. The whole key of this system is to get you off from living check to check. And I don't care who you are or how much you make, the system can get you there. So you can sleep at night knowing, oh my God, what happens if I don't make the money? Now, the best situation is you don't have to worry about your money, period, but we have to start one day at a time. And at the end, when he's going to talk about a discount you can receive in a software as well. So the goal, and you can write this down, is to understand. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I just wanted to interject about the software, that it's really, I was surprised when I found out just how affordable this is. Can I go ahead and say what it is now?
Sure. It's $60 retail, but and I'm basically offering a complimentary consultation to meet with me, and if you provide that complimentary consultation, I'll give you 25% off the software, or $15 off for just a total of $45, and that includes full support, by the way.
Okay, so I just thought that was, just so doable, for everybody. So, all right, thanks for sharing that.
What I like about it, for those of you that are familiar with software, I'm not a big fan of you giving your credit card information and passwords to your bank accounts to any of these companies online. I'm not a big fan of that. I'm very security conscious, but this program allows you just to manually put in all your stuff and very secure. So that's what I like about it. There's no advertising on the site. It costs a little bit of money, but frankly, I think the value in the software is beyond amazing. So the goal is to understand where you can improve your cash flow to direct monies to support your life's intentions. Let me repeat that again. The goal of this is to understand where you can improve your cash flow to direct monies to support your life's intentions. Regardless of your income, regardless of your net worth, getting a better handle on your spending, I think we all could benefit from such an encounter. And then we're going to move to our part 5, chakra. I'm sorry, part 5, which is our third chakra, which is directing. And in directing, I am able to gracefully weather life's unexpected storms. So what I'm essentially referring to is walking up your path of intentions without falling backwards. In the financial world, we're talking about risk management and estate planning. As a general rule, you should insure for risk that you cannot self-insure for, like insuring income to protect your family's lifetime earnings, like property insurance, liability insurance, case of litigation, protecting your income, which will be disability insurance, and obviously health insurance. We don't want to be insurance poor, but we want to intelligently cover the risk that you face on your path to prosperity. There is an appropriate amount of insurance for everyone given your budget. You just have to learn to allocate those financial resources to properly insure the risk beyond your scope. And that's a whole other conversation, which we're not going to have in this call, but the bottom line is having insurance is important. And you do the very best you can with what you have. And you have to be very mindful, because there are a lot of salesmen out there that would sell you a Brooklyn Bridge, but you really don't need it. So you really have to utilize those dollars correctly. And like that, this whole key, by the way, is to help you from falling backwards. So God forbid that as an income earner in your household, whether it's you, your husband, or both of you, that you want to put a wedge behind you so you don't fall backwards. That is so crucial, because if you do one thing wrong, we talk about the chakras, everything has to be balanced. If you do not do the work in this area, all the other areas are frankly meaningless. Which goes to our next section of the part 5. We talk about estate planning. And estate planning is the process to guarantee that your intentions are carried out when you're no longer able to care for yourself or no longer physically in this world. This is what I refer to as having control from the grave. So when we talk about achieving balance in the chakras, this is a fabulous example of why balance in money and money matters is essential to the path of union. So let me give you an example. So let's say you don't have a will, and I've been making you, hypothetically, 20% on your money each and every year. So you've got quite a nice net worth, but you didn't do the work in estate planning. So now you died, you're a single mom, and you have 2 children. So what happens? Well, the state essentially goes on the bloodlines, and they would determine that your sister would be the ones to potentially have custody of your children. But your intention was to have your best friend have custody of your children because she's really responsible, quite savvy financially, and would have the children's interest at heart. Your sister, unfortunately, just got out of drug rehab, has been economically unviable for many years, and frankly would take the money from your estate and squander it away, and your children would be left holding the bag. So would it matter how much money I would make you from your investments if this other part of your life is not in sync? Absolutely not. So that's why it's crucial, and this goes for anyone, by the way, regardless of your net worth, to review your estate plan to make sure that everything is in order. So whether we address the needs for wills, advanced medical directives, trusts, charitable intentions, durable powers, or other estate tools, we work with estate and tax advisors to make sure that the proper estate documents are executed and you leave the legacy of your wishes to your family, friends, or charitable interest. Unfortunately, when you're no longer in this world, you really won't know if the estate documents were properly executed, and it'll be too late. So that's having the proper estate planning is so important. So I know I feel like I'm hitting you guys with so much information, and I apologize for that. It's not my intention to overload you, but I'm just trying to give you a summary of all the steps that need to be addressed. So we're ready to move.
Okay, another big sigh for everybody in between.
So there's two more parts.
Right. Okay.
So hang in there, everybody. Have some Zen tea. It'll be helpful. Part 6, which is your second chakra, which is moving. So this talks about the conversation around emotional intelligence regarding our money investments. We should not allow our emotions to control our investment decisions. So this is where the last chakra deals with making sure we're walking up the path of intentions and not falling backwards. This is walking up the path of intentions without taking unnecessary market risk. So we're talking about investment planning and savings. So in order to gain emotional intelligence regarding money, it is essential to establish the proper savings for you and your family. So if you guys could write this down. If you are a single adult, you should have a minimum of 6 months worth of living expenses in your bank. 6 months. If you're a 2-income earner family, then you should have a minimum of 90 days. Now, these are minimums, by the way. And this money could be kept in a savings or a money market account. The interest rate is a non-issue because this money is referred to as sleep at night money, or what I would call, I don't have to use my credit card money. How many times have you had an emergency where something's come up? You had a family member needed a little extra money. It's interesting when you have money, how people seem to come through to ask you for money. Very interesting. But if you have a medical emergency or a roof repair, or you lose your job for a couple months while you're looking for a new job, there could be countless examples of where this would come in handy. And this would take a lot of stress off everybody on this call to make sure you had money there so God forbid something happened, you wouldn't have to look for money elsewhere. Because you certainly want to use your credit cards, which could have high interest rates or APRs, and you certainly wouldn't want to pull money from your 401k or other investments, because then that money wouldn't be able to grow continuously. So this is a very crucial point. And if you do not have the 90 days or the 6 months right now, then you need to work on a plan to get there. That's very, very key. This is a foundation financial process. So next we're going to talk about the investment piece of it. So in yoga, I've learned that it is best to flow between each asana or pose with minimum effort and breath. In other words, you want to practice as efficient as possible. I used to muscle the asana work, and my teacher taught me to flow with grace and little effort. It took a long time before I finally understood that. And I thought about investing at those moments. So I learned to work with the financial markets and not against them. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here for purposes of this call, but essentially we put our trust in the markets and not in managers. I feel investors are entitled to the returns that capitalism provides, and that spending time and money to find the next great money manager is pretty much a wasted effort. So our strategy strives to maximize returns while minimizing transaction costs and income taxes in a diversified portfolio. We utilize unbiased research of Nobel laureates and some of the most respected academics in modern history to provide us a prudent guide to portfolio construction with no conflicts of interest. We are not all about Wall Street. And lastly, we're dedicated to investment discipline. We practice it on all levels because we know the direct relationship between return and risk. So whether you're trying to develop a portfolio for capital preservation, for income, capital appreciation, a combination, we can design something customized directly for you. And with that, we also would be happy to review what you're currently doing. And that essentially is part 6, or chakra 2. And lastly is part 7, which is chakra 1. It's called grounding. We are working with feelings of fear, safety, and security, which comes down to root support. Putting it all together. In order to effectively move toward and embrace your intentions, which we talked about in part 1, you have to do the work. As I learned in yoga, how you do anything is how you do everything. If you do some but not all the work, your life will remain unbalanced, and you will not reach or approach what I consider perfect union. I am ready to release old habits that no longer serve me. You can write that down. I am grounded and ready to achieve peace of mind. In order to move forward, to gain this financial zen that we're referring to, we really have to come to grips with, one, we have to create that compelling vision of what we want our life to look like, and draw some real crystal clear goals around that. 2, we have to get a succinct handle on where we are at financially, which means a little work putting together financial statements, cash flow analysis, and income statements so we can truly understand the tools we have to move forward, especially cash flow, which that seems to be everybody's nemesis to some degree. And then we have to evaluate our risk management, our estate planning, our savings, our investments. So in totality, we want to put together a strategy where all our chakras, or all our areas of financial zen, are working in tandem together to give you love, life, and prosperity. At my company, our primary focus is to deliver financial wisdom and solutions that empower women and men of all life stages that come from knowing that your holistic advisor is working to bring your vision to life. So with that, I thank you all for everything, and I know I've given you just a tremendous amount of information. I hope you see some value.
Oh, Craig, that was a lot of information, a lot of really useful, powerful information. And so if you're here on this call, you're supposed to be here because you're ready to step into another level of your business and of your personal life, and building a life you love, and having that financial zen, putting together a plan, a strategy. And so thank you so much, Craig, for sharing your wisdom with us. And I know that you have really redefined your business over the last year since you really did a deep dive into yoga. And because of that, now you just want to touch more and more and more people, whereas in the past you've worked with certain clients of a certain level, and now you just want to be of service and make a difference and share as much information just to help people. And that's why you wanted to have this call here today. And that being said, I want to share with our listeners 3 other ways that they can tap into all the resources that you have available. First is a live talk that you're doing, and it's in Palm Beach. It is on Friday, September 13th, and it's at the Hilton, and that's on Southern Boulevard, I believe, in right off I-95 in West Palm Beach. And that is WLEG. It's a monthly meeting that they have, and they've invited Craig to be their guest speaker here in September. And you can register in advance. We'll leave the links on the Facebook event page. I think if you register early, I believe it's $25, and if you do it that day, if you just walk in, I believe it's $35, but you get lunch. So you get, to hear Craig speak again, share resources. I know he's going to have a lot of resources he's going to share that day. He's going to give out handouts and worksheets and all that sort of thing. Now, that being said, I know that you're also offering a private complimentary consultation for anybody on the line today, which is very generous of you to offer that out so that another second opportunity to get in touch with Craig. So, Craig, can you share with our listeners how they can get in touch with you for that free consultation?
Absolutely. And I make that offer because until I really can get to know you and understand where you're at and what you're looking for, can I really begin to help you realize your life's intentions. That's really important. And let me just state that we were primarily a high-end investment firm. Before I had my yoga experience, we dealt with wealthy clients. And through my yoga experience, I've just become in love and tuned to really know that, it's not about the money. It's about helping people, providing love. That's what the yoga community has provided me. And I feel compelled. This is what the universe has brought up for me, is to be more giving and to help people become financially well off, utilizing the tools that I've developed over decades of experience, as you put it. So to answer your question, you can email me directly at craig@yourfinancialzen.com. Feel free to email me anytime. Or if you care to, you can go on my website, which is www.yourfinancialzen.com. And if you go to, there's a link there at the top, I believe it's called consultation, and there's a little area you can just fill out and with your name, number, and a brief message, and that'll come directly to me, and we will contact you to set up a meeting to talk as well.
Okay, so that's very generous of you, Craig, so thank you so much for sharing that with your listeners. And then lastly, if any of our listeners would like the templates, the worksheets that Craig has just mentioned, if you send him an email, then he will forward them to you. So again, that email is for you, Craig?
Craig@yourfinancialzen.com.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you so much. And you have your blog, which they can access. You can access from the website, which is the Power of
Balance, because I think all what we're talking about is developing financial zen, is developing balance in your life. My blog I felt compelled to write a blog about my journey through yoga so people can understand the changes that have occurred to me. So if you go on my website, you'll see my personal blog. There are many, many posts and articles that I have written about my journey, about what I've learned through the yoga process, and I would invite anyone on the call to go down and feel free to experience all that.
Subscribe. And you have a business page on Facebook, so we'll put the link on the events page, but your business page is?
My Facebook business page?
Yeah, your Facebook business page.
Well, it's Richman Capital Management, so I'm not sure exactly how to.
You can just put that in the search engine of Facebook and find Craig Richman on Facebook. So thank you so much to all of our listeners for being with us today. Is there anything you'd like to close with, Craig?
Well, I'd like to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to have this venue and thank each and every one of the callers on the line. It's my intention to give you tremendous value for your valuable time you spent today with me, and I hope I provided that. If those who know me, my work on a mat, I give 1,000%, and this is no different. So if I can help each and every one of you at all, please feel free to reach out.
Thank you so much, everyone. Wishing everyone so much success in every area of your life and financial zen. So wishing you a great week, and thank you so much, Craig, for being with us.
Namaste. Thank you.
Bye. Namaste.